Released in the summer of 2019, it's a crop frame sensor DSLR camera with some fantastic 1080 and 4K filming capabilities. But with Canon's much newer and growing mirrorless R series, as well as the fact that they seem to be moving away from creating and eventually supporting DSLR cameras, is the Canon 90D something that's worth getting in 2021, and who should think about getting one? Well, today we're going to be looking at 10 reasons why the Canon 90D might be a good fit for you. So kicking off, our first point is the 4K filming option with no crop factor. And those of you who have used Canon's other prosumer cameras for 4K filming in the past will know that a lot of them have a crop on the 4K, even if they already are crop frame cameras. And also a lot of them don't allow you to use the 4K functionality with the dual pixel autofocusing system, which makes keeping your 4K in focus particularly difficult. But this is not the case with the Canon 90D. The 4K has no crop and it uses DPAF. So you can vlog in 4K if you want, and you can keep your face in focus at the same time. But also there's an option to turn on a crop on the 4K if you want to increase the reach of your lens. Next up, our second point, and still talking about video, is the 120 frames per second in 1080. This is something that we all wanted from a Canon camera for a very long time. At least I have wanted this piece of functionality for a very long time. And again, most prosumer Canon cameras are capped at around 60 frames per second for 1080, and the 120 is usually in a 720p mode. But now with this 1080 120 frames per second option, you have a B-roll dream machine that can help you create cutaways for your vlogs, travel videos, product reviews, or anything really. And it's just such a fantastic option to have on a content creator's camera. The 33 megapixel crop frame sensor is the third point on our list, and this is massive for an APS-C camera. It's the largest amount of pixels on a Canon crop frame sensor currently. I don't know if Canon are planning any more APS-C DSLR cameras, so it may well hold that title forever. And that sensor is really perfect for things like wildlife, sport and action photography, where you can use the extra crop on your zoom lenses like the popular 70 to 200mm f-stop 2.8, giving you an effective focal range of up to 320mm roughly, so that you can capture more of what you want at a distance. The 90D also has a standard range ISO from 100 to 25,600, which can be extended up to 51,200, but being a crop frame sensor, I'm always weary of pushing it past the 1600 ISO mark to avoid things like grain. And here is a good place to add that if you haven't done so already, don't forget to add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram feeds, where you can stay up to date with all of our photography sessions, video productions, short films, camera reviews, and other creative happenings. Point 4 is that it is content creator approved. And essentially what I'm talking about is this, the fully articulating touchscreen, because this simple piece of functionality helps turn your 90D from a pro filmmaking and photography piece of kit to a content creator's ideal 4K vlogging setup. The addition of this piece of tech to modern cameras has really helped me personally to start creating content here on YouTube, especially these types of talking videos and review videos, as well as Skillshare classes and courses. In the past, I tried to make YouTube videos with a camera that didn't have a flip out screen or dual pixel autofocus, and it was really very challenging to just try and get good focus. Nowadays, it's so much easier with a fully articulating touchscreen on the newer Canon cameras like the 90D. So if you're looking to start a YouTube channel or create online classes or courses, as well as having something that you can use for filmmaking and photography, this is a great all-round piece of kit. And just bouncing off point 4, point 5 on our list is something that I take for granted nowadays because I use it all the time, and that is the dual pixel autofocus. Recently, I went back to using my Canon 4000D for a review video and realized how essential DPAF has become and how much I actually take it for granted. Simply tapping the screen gets your face in focus, and that's tracked focus on your face. And the great thing about the 90D, which we've already mentioned, is that DPAF works in 4K. Again, adding to this camera being an awesome option for content creators looking to get into 4K video. When it comes to focusing for photography, you have 45 cross-type focusing points, which are spread out across the screen, and a super handy multi-controller that makes it easy to select the right AF points while you're shooting. Point 6 is the continuous shooting rate for photography. You can shoot at 10 frames per second with intelligent tracking and recognition autofocus when using the camera's optical viewfinder, and bursts of up to 11 frames per second in live view mode. And this is really impressive given that the 5D Mark IV shoots around 7 frames per second. Next up is the EF/EFS mount, which the 90D has. And this is another reason you might choose this camera over the mirrorless R series, simply because you have access to a greater number of lenses that are becoming ever more affordable. And of course, having different types of glass means that you can get a variety of different shots. And again, as people move more and more over to the RF mount and RF cameras, more and more EF glass is finding its way onto the second-hand market. Point 8 is the digital image stabilization. Okay, it's not in-body image stabilization, which you get on the newer Canon cameras, but actually it's very workable for vlogging. And also, considering that you compare it with the higher frame rates like 60 frames per second, it's not bad at all. Point 9, and one of my favorite things on the Canon cameras, is the Wi-Fi connection and the Canon App. This again ties in with the theme of being a content creator's camera. Being able to pull images and videos that you take from your camera onto your phone and then posting them directly up onto social media is really quick and simple to do. For the final point on our list, let's talk about the price. How much is the Canon 90D going to set you back? Well, brand new on the Canon US store, you're going to be looking to spend about $1,200, and on the UK Canon store, you're currently looking at £1,250. Secondhand, I've seen these sell on eBay for between $800 and $1,000 in the United States and around £800 to £1,000 in the UK. This is very much dependent on the condition and any accessories you might get. And really, that's not bad at all for what you get in this Canon DSLR body. So the Canon 90D is a triple threat camera. For you photographers out there, you've got the 11 frames per second continuous shooting, Canon color science that you can really pull out from the raw images. For filmmakers, you've got 4K filming capabilities with no crop and dual pixel autofocus. And for content creators, you have the flip out screen, you have a mic input to get crisp audio, and 120 frames per second in 1080 for your B-roll. Really, this camera ticks a lot of boxes for those who want quality and something that can do pretty much everything. But the Canon 90D is far from perfect. There's only a single SD card slot, which I know the pros will be shaking their heads at. And unfortunately, this point alone will disqualify this camera in the minds of working professionals. And also, there doesn't seem to be a log or C-log option on there. And I know a lot of filmmakers will not be happy about that. And also, it's a DSLR. And as much as I love DSLR cameras, the big brands seem to be embracing mirrorless camera technology, and it's only a matter of time when they stop supporting the older and maybe even the more recent DSLR bodies. So there are definitely a few things that you need to consider before purchasing this camera. But what do you guys think? Is the Canon 90D a camera that you covet, or do you think it's past its sell-by date? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, if you found today's video useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that little bell for notifications. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All that I've got left to say is stay creative, stay safe, Imagine, implement, and inspire. And I'll see you next time on KaiCreative.